Hello YouTubers, Two-Wheel Rider here once again for your delectation. Hope you enjoyed that little tour around Bosham Harbour. It's a lovely little place. What I thought we'd do is we will do a review type of the bike at the end, and I will discuss it as we go around, but I thought we'd just sort of chat as much about the Bonneville itself, and why it endures as a motorbike, and have a little chat around that. We'll do a ride off, and you can see how the bike handles, etc. We'll head from here off back to Pulborough Way, but we'll leave it to the Swans because the tide's coming in. Right, as we set off, I just talked a couple of things about this bike, why I actually chose it over all the other bikes that I've tried in the Bonneville lineup. And what this bike had, which was really funny, I tried a few different Bonnevilles at the time, the T114, etc. But what this bike had when I sat in it was a very similar feel to my Thunderbird 900. What's really funny is that when I sat on this, I actually got the feeling that I could actually see more of the bike in front of me. If you look here, you can see I can see all the tank. I'm not leaning back, And that was something I like. It's nice to be able to see some of the bike that you've bought when you're riding it. And this I can see a lot of. And I really like that. It has a more of a cruiser feel to it. The handlebars are slightly more swept back, which sort of pulls you back a little bit in the seat. This bike also has a longer wheelbase than the standard T100, which is based on, and a different rake angle, so it makes the ride or the turn slightly slower. It does cut you out a little bit, particularly when I've been riding the Hunter or the Ducati, etc. I've also got the little screen. All my bikes have little screens, and I've got the bar end mirrors on there. But it has a very different feel to a lot of the other Bonnevilles that I've ridden. Not so noisy in terms of the exhaust sound. It's pretty quiet. I think you can take the baffles out of this, but it's more of a drilling job. You can't just unscrew something, they fall out. So I've resisted the temptation to do anything to the exhaust, and I think my neighbours are appreciating that a little bit. When we get the other side of Amberley here, there's a nice straight which is natural speed limit. I'll let the bike, you'll be able to hear the bike. I did mess up a little bit on my miking this time. I didn't have my little windsock on the mic, which is stuck on my back, to try and catch exhaust, which worked very well on my Ducati test, but not so much because it did actually get a little bit of wind noise on there. I'll let you see that. But the bike actually does handle it. It's really smooth to handle. It turns nicely and stuff. But yeah, going back to the Bonneville, why does it endure? When you think about when this bike came out, it was in, was it the pinnacle of motorbikes at the time? They were ultra cool. The world looked to us for motorbike design. And you look at the people that rode these bikes: Steve McQueen, Marlon Brando. What was that? I don't know, not Wild Bunch, was it? But one of those sort of films where he's always pictured with his cigarette hanging out of his mouth and his leather cap. The bikes were ultra cool, particularly Triumph. So, I don't think they could do any wrong, and if they were a little bit unreliable at times. But although we had the Japanese invasion, really, of the mobile industry, particularly in the UK, which sort of saw an end to these bikes, and BSA and people like that, because they were so cool. I suppose they were really lucky in that the Triumph name sort of lived on in one guise or another, but they still continued to make bikes. I'd shut up while the bike was revving away there. See, it's pretty quiet, isn't it? The bike's not mega loud, but it has enough power to get you where you want to go. It's adequate, isn't it? I think it's about 60 horsepower, something like that, late 50, 60 horsepower. But yeah, so of course what really saved Triumph was the fact that things got more reliable. Triumph, as far as I'm aware, were, with the resurgence of the brand, were using gearboxes or certainly components from Yamaha, from Suzuki, and I got that from an ex-Triumph engineer who said, yeah, they were using Yamaha gearboxes and stuff on their bike. So they learnt a very valuable lesson that why design it yourself when you can buy off the shelf high quality components. And somebody else might tell me different with that, but I'm quite happy to believe that was the case. So the bikes became more reliable, and then we had Nirvana, didn't we, really? Because we had the British bike, classic looks, but with Japanese reliability. And that's all we ever want, isn't it? We want an old, we look at old classic cars and we think, God, it's so unreliable. But if this is why you see the resurgence of these classic vehicles like the Mini, the Beetle, and all this sort of stuff. You can have the looks, but with all the reliability that comes with it, and that was a real saviour for companies like Triumph. And look where they are now. Huge manufacturer, and they sell bikes all over the world. Um, they can't really rival people like Honda. We still see Honda as the most reliable bikes out there, but you say things like Triumph are pretty good. They still have a few little issues, little niggles, but then everybody does, don't they? We're all trying to make things cheaper and sell them for more money to maximise profit, because we've got shareholders to think of. But they do pretty well, really, and these bikes still sell. The Bonneville is still a really good seller. But are we coming to the end of the Bonneville, do you think? Have we reached the pinnacle of Bonneville design? I look at my colleague's Bonneville 120 Black and think, where do you go from there? Can you do anything else? You can't put more bling on it. You could put less bling, I suppose. But what can you change? Apart from the engines, I suppose, you might be able to make them slightly more efficient. I wouldn't say that a Bonneville is hugely efficient, although strangely this model, with the 865 engine and the early type of fuel injection, seems to be about the most economical I've had. But it's still probably doing 50 to the gallon, if you're lucky, or something like that. But the problem all manufacturers have, if you continue to make a model for the length of time that Triumph has, to sell more bikes, you've got to update it. You've got to have, what's the update for this year? What's going to make you want to change your old one for a new one? We see BMW doing it with the R1300. You look at Land Rover. Look how long the Defender was out for, and it kept getting changed and updated until such a point that you can't update it anymore. You've got to change the whole darn thing. So, Triumph and their Bonneville are totally synonymous. Do you have one without the other? Could you ever see a point where Triumph do not make a Bonneville? Now, I know you have lots of different types of Bonneville, don't you? The Bonneville Bobber and all that sort of stuff. So it remains to be seen, how long could this actually go on for? I suppose you can make it infinitum, but perhaps people eventually, if you didn't update it enough to get new buyers to it, or get old buyers to upgrade their bikes, is it worth manufacturing anymore? Your sales figures just won't add up to the amount that it's costing you to manufacture the bike. And then you get into a situation where you try to get the bike manufactured so cheaply that you lose the quality of it. So interesting. I'd like to know people's thoughts on bikes like this, and how well will they continue to sell, and are they worth manufacturing infinitum, really? Because I suppose you could, but yeah, give us your thoughts in the comments on that. We're going to ride up to the next little stop just in a few seconds, and I'll have a little chat about this bike in particular before we wrap things up. Catch you in a sec. So, the Bonneville T214. So it's a limited edition run bike. It's based on the T100, so it's got the 865 engine. 2015, so it has the sort of fairly early fuel injection system. But the key things about this bike, you've got different rake angle, so it's slightly shallower. Rake gives it a slightly slower turn, longer wheelbase. The seat, you might actually see, is incredibly long. Oh, it seems very, very long on this bike. Um, but it rides more like a cruiser, which is why I really, really liked it. And with the handlebars, which are raked back slightly on this, uh, it has a very different feel to any other Bonneville that I've ridden. But it was much closer to the Thunderbird 900 that I had. And as soon as I sat on this, I felt at home immediately, and I thought, yeah, this is the one for me. Um, you've also got the black wheels, which is quite a nice thing. Obviously spoked, but the black rims set the bike off very nicely. The 214 was a celebration of the world's fastest bike, which Triumph had the record for at one point at 214 miles an hour. Um, you got the black engine casings, which is also nice. It's very sort of understated, the bike. Um, it's hand painted, so all the tanks on these were hand painted. Um, I'm not quite sure what that really means, really. Does that mean that all other Triumphs are painted by machine? But the actual paintwork is done by hand. You got the extra decal decals on there, T214. Um, but the paint is lovely with the pinstriping, so it's a really high standard of finish, which you get on a lot of Triumphs, isn't it? And you get the sticker there. That's under the clear coat, so it won't peel off. Um, but I'm not very love that sticker. I think that looks a little bit something, but I won't say any more than that. And you get the little plaque on there, 214 number 184. So they made 1,000 of these. Why they didn't make 214, I'm not really sure. That was a bit of a marketing disaster. But you had 80 of these bikes were sold in the UK. Um, Very rarely see them for sale. I don't know if people keep hold of them or they just sort of got lost uh, into the massive Bonnevilles being sold. But they are out there. Again, the black rims. Love the black rims on this. And it's very quiet. The exhaust is quiet on this bike. The white star is a bit of a thing. I remember when I bought it, I thought, oh, I'm going to take that off. But obviously, it's under the coat. And do you know what? I don't mind it. I think it's okay. Um, but as such, it's a really nice bike to live with, and I like it very much. And this is a keeper as well. This is a bike that I will be keeping. I don't ride it that often, but when I do, I remember why I bought it. Every time I sit on it, I think I remember why I bought this, why I loved it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. A little arty beginning to it on the on the little harbour there. But keep watching the channel and remember to subscribe. There's some good stuff coming up. But I'm going now because it's freezing and I'm going to warm up a little bit. So I'll see you in the next one.